Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has declared that he will ensure any candidate not supporting President Bola Tinubu does not win in the FCT Area Council's election scheduled for February 21st. Speaking during Senator Sandy Ono's 60th birthday celebration in Abuja, Wike said he owes nobody an apology for his stance. The minister reiterated that he would only support whoever backs the president's re-election regardless of political affiliation. The election will see chairmanship and councillorship positions contested across the 6 area councils in the FCT. The Independent National Electoral Commission has cleared approximately 1.68 million registered voters to participate, with results viewable in real time through the IRF portal. Now, Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us for a chat on the need for free and credible FCT council polls, especially against the backdrop of the vow by FCT Minister Wike that only pro-Tinubu candidates will win the elections. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale.
Good afternoon.
Right. This appears to be a dangerous precedent that's being set by the by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Do you think it's time for him to be called to order?
I don't know who will call him to order, but it's not God. Mm-hmm. I would say it's not God. That's an absolute statement. And you have to look at the context in which he was saying it. He's talking as Minister for Capital Territory. He's not an elected officer. He was appointed by the president. In fact, the president constitutionally is the governor of the Federal Capital Territory. And you remember the constitution was done during military rule. So Wike is talking like an absolute ruler in this election. He's not involved, but he's telling you that if you don't support my boss, you lose the election. It's anti-democratic. But his appointment, the powers he has, are not democratic. They are dictatorial. That is our constitution in the military era. So it's like a military governor of Abuja Capital Territory. He is an appointee of the president, and is using that as a weapon to secure victory for their party. It is a logical sequence, even though it is undemocratic. It is undemocratic, and I will say almost wicked to say that, because he's telling the other, because he wields a lot of power as an executive chairman of Abuja, that if you don't vote for a candidate of my party, or if you don't support the policy of the president, I will not support you. But let's see how it plays out. There are about 8 parties or more contesting, and it depends on their political strength and campaign rhetoric to get across to the populace. People used to say Lagos is a no man's land, but Lagos is not a no. It's Abuja that is really a no man's land, because it was carved out in the jungle by Tai Sulani and other people, thus to create equity in the heart of the country. It used to be a big bush. I remember when I thought I would work there, but I didn't. But now it's now a big metropolis. But that part of the constitution that gives UK the sort of absolute power is trying to use now has to be amended. But it was so that in 76, it's an appointee of the president. It's not contesting. If he was going to, some people have suggested the mayor for Abuja, that people should contest and all that, but that is not in our constitution. So he's getting mileage out of what the powers of the constitution confer on him, and I don't blame him, but it is not democratic, it is a dictatorial.
But is there a danger in just comments like this existing in the first place, even if, people may kind of chalk this up to be the way that Wike communicates? This is just the rhetoric he uses. Is there a danger of normalizing this as we approach 2027?
But he said he has no apologies for anybody. So he knows what he's saying. You see, if you look at his background, coming from the Fubara saga, even Fubara just recently donated an award to him, saying that he was his boss. So I think is riding on the crest of power and popularity. And given what he has done in Abuja, you cannot deny that infrastructurally he has developed the place. He should have left that to be the dividend for democracy for the APC. Not him saying before the election that if you don't, it makes the entire electoral process lopsided in favor of the APC. But then it's a creation of the Constitution, which I think should eventually be sorted out and amended. But, there's a senator for Abuja too, but he doesn't listen to the lady.
Okay.
So let's leave it at that for now.
Now, Mr. Sobowale, in your opening statement, when I asked if it was time for Wike to be called to order, you said that you don't know who's going to call him to order. But now that he's saying that he will basically frustrate candidates that don't support the president, is it not right for the president to publicly call him to order, seeing that you rightly said this is an undemocratic statement or an undemocratic way to go about things?
I don't see the president calling him to order because he's doing the bidding of the president. Can't you see that?
No, absolutely. But Mr. Sobowale, does this not set a dangerous precedent?
Statement. But there is free speech in this country.
Okay.
And you see somebody who is obstinate about what he's saying, that he has no apology for.
But in your own words,
like you,
your own words, Mr. Sobowale, my freedom ends. Your freedom ends when my nose begins. Right?
But so
Mr. Sobowale, the Wikes of other states, right? If those are occupied, I know
there's only one federal capital.
Indeed, but I'm saying that those that occupy similar positions in various states, if they take such a stance,
they will lose.
I'm just saying that this is a teachable moment, because if an example is not made out of, or we don't see consequences for such a statement, then if someone does if governors do tread similar paths, then we should expect them to also be allowed to do what they like.
If any governor does that in any of the 36, it will be taken to task. But I'm telling you, that's an aberration in the constitutional creation of the office Wike is holding. That aberration has to be sorted out before you can really deal with him. I don't say the president, there's freedom of speech. The president is not, he's saying something very much in tune with what the president wants. And these people like us who are getting irritated. I won't say it's arrogance, because this goes beyond arrogance. Do you get it? But he has said it. He has said it, but it's not God.
But perhaps, Mr.
It's not God.
Because you gave the great example.
The process is a competition.
You gave the example of what we've seen happen in River State.
Yes.
So would you say that the way that crisis was managed might have enabled this kind of behavior and statements that we're seeing?
Of course.
Well, the president mediated in that case. He intervened.
Yes.
And if the president has somewhat been an enabler to this behavior that we're seeing, then he probably should call him to order, even if he's doing the president's bidding.
Cynthia, they are not on the same scale. You are exaggerating now. They are not on the same scale. The reverse one is different from this. This is just campaign rhetoric. And even then, it's not contesting. But he's holding the gun to the head of those who are going to vote. That whether support my man, there's freedom of speech. I'm not saying it's right. It is blatant, I won't say abuse, I won't even say misuse, arrogance of power. But it's not talking in a vacuum. It's an aberration to the political and democratic process, because it's an appointee, not somebody who benefited from an electoral competition. And he has added insult to injury by telling you that he has no apology. What do you want to do about that?
And then just, big picture before we go, how do you envision these council elections to go? What will the process look like? And can people see it as, an early version of what to expect in 2027?
Well, I don't see the people want to equate it with the midterm election, but Abuja, if you are going to hold an election, say in Lagos, or even Port Harcourt, or Kaduna, but Abuja is a quiet metropolis. It's a quiet administrative place. And you see the result. And why I'm saying it's not God is that, you see, I'm sure there are more people from the south in Abuja, you get me, who will contest in this election than the indigenous of Gwari or those local people in Abuja. So it's going to be interesting. But like I said, he is not God. Although you have to put your ears to the ground. In most places where we have had local government elections, the ruling party has always won.
Okay.
So I don't see this being an election.
Now
That's part of the unique qualities of our electoral system, which you are refusing to see. This is our own Nigeria.
Mr. Sobowale, for those that are overzealous and would want to act in line with what the FCT minister is saying, basically in frustrating the anti-Tinubu supporters, if you want to call it that.
You are calling it that?
Frustrating them carrying out their civic duties. If we see certain actions that frustrates the voting process when the elections hold on the 21st, who should be held accountable?
INEC. You see, Wike has made a reckless statement. It does not disturb the electoral process. Do you get me? It is anti-democratic. You can only admonish him. You can't arrest him on account of that. And you can't even, with all your power, ask the president to punish him. Because the president won't, because he's on his side. And this is politics. Politics is about who gets what, when, and how. And you say you don't pray for your enemy in politics. So it's using the aberration, the inconsistency in the constitution setting up that place that makes him an appointee of the president of the day. And he's enjoying the power and all the idiosyncrasies of that office. So it's a show.
Okay.
Next question.
It's a show. That's it. That's it. Mr. Dayo, thank you very much for joining us to discuss these comments from the FCT minister.